Welcome to the Steministas. I am your host, Renata Bade-Barajas. On this podcast, we showcase the incredible accomplishments of women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, either through startups, class projects, research, inventions, patents, and so on. The goal is to not only celebrate these achievements, but to also inspire other women who have ideas to pursue their dreams, talk about challenges that they may face in pursuing these dreams, and to raise awareness for the projects these Steministas are currently working on. So each week, I, and sometimes a guest co-host, will chat with our Steminista for the week about their projects and any possible challenges they may have faced in the process. So sit back and enjoy. Welcome to this week's episode of the Steministas podcast. My name is Renata Bade-Barajas. Once again, I am your host. And this week, we're going to be talking to a female engineer who is very close to me. Her name is Renata Bade-Barajas. She is currently living in a fun place. I'm not going to spoil the surprise for you, but she has lived in 3 different places. We're going to talk a little bit about how being a female engineer, how the experiences vary between these different places in terms of culture and just, again, her own personal experiences. She's also very multicultural, diverse. So we're going to talk a little bit about her experiences in that regard. And we're going to talk about her project, which is mainly renewable energy. So I hope that you have a wonderful time listening to this podcast, at least as wonderful as I did recording this episode. And I hope if you have any questions or feedback, let us know. And yeah, let's call her up and hear what she has to say. Hi, Renata. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Excited to be here. In spirit,
yes.
Of course.
I feel like it's particularly fitting that you're my first episode since we have such a long and, I guess, convoluted, maybe, history. We have such a deep background.
We go
way back. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit more about yourself and your background, everything growing up, getting into tech, getting now to where you are at this point. I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Oh.
Okay.
So, I'm originally from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And my father is German, and I grew up mostly in South Florida. The kind of stepping stone into the States for Hispanics. A lot of Spanish culture, a lot of Venezuelans, Cubans, Colombians. So we fit right in. And after there, I made my way to Georgia Tech in Atlanta, where we met, where fate was made.
Yeah.
After, basically my proudest moment of graduating from Tech with a degree in mechanical engineering, I moved to Iceland to pursue a master's in sustainable energy engineering.
Yes! Dun, 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 dun.
That's where I'm at right now.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about your STEM history. When did you first get interested in STEM?
Okay. Yeah, well, I've always been interested in math. Mm-hmm. And I think my high school had a particularly good, math program. We had an obscene number of people in our math club or math team. I don't even know what to call it. There was 300 people on
Oh my gosh. Wow.
This is a public school.
That is nothing like the movies.
In a good way. Yeah, I always thought it was fake. I never understood that my school experience was much different. It was cool to be smart. Mm-hmm. And then later on in high school, I joined a robotics team. And that is really when I just kind of saw the fruition of that problem solving and that background in physics and math come together. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Yes.
This is what I want to do.
Awesome. Yeah. So how did you get to tech?
That's where it birthed. So tech, honestly, I'm not really sure. I feel like I'm the first person in my family to go to school in the States. Because
wow.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I'm the same, actually.
Yeah. So I think it was just a lot of research and seeing I feel like I saw YouTube videos that students put up, and I kind of like the way people are here, and I like the expectation of what normal is at tech, and how people are just so driven and have all these cool projects, and I think that's what really attracted me to tech.
That is awesome. So why mechanical engineering?
So, okay, this is kind of cheesy, but I read this essay by Mark Twain called Reading the River, and it was about this steam conductor in the Mississippi River. And it was just kind of about how this guy became a steam conductor because he loved the Mississippi River. But after years of doing this job, it just became so like mechanical, and like he lost the beauty of the river. Like the waves meant something different. The current was just like a prediction of the future.
Aww.
So I didn't really, it was kind of sad, but at the same time, I was like, I don't want to do that to like my artistic things that I like, and that kind of stuff. But then I already like mechanical engineering for what it is, so nothing's going to be stamped out. Like it is what it is, and I already like it that way.
How did you then get from mechanical engineering to renewable energy? Or is mechanical engineering just like a tool for you? It
was always a stepping stone for me. Like I always wanted to get to renewable energy, to sustainability, because like growing up in South Florida, I feel like I had a very first-hand experience with climate change. Like we would track the hurricanes. Like we all turned into little baby meteorologists when the hurricanes came around. We're like, oh yeah, it's a Category 3, the high wind speeds, and blah blah blah. And like it was so apparent to see how like each year there was more and more, and we're like, I mean, this is connected.
Yeah.
So I think from there, I just I want to help my home and help other people with their homes, and just kind of help out the way that I can.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. So tell us more about Iceland, because I feel like that's what I'm thinking about. I feel like that's what everyone's going to be thinking about. How is renewable energy in Iceland? Because Iceland, I know, is like super great about renewable energy. What are you working on? You know, how did you get to Iceland? I just like have all the questions.
Okay. So Iceland, for those of you who do not know, is a small island right under the Arctic. We do have a little bit of territory in the Arctic, but it's subarctic. It's technically part of Europe, but we're basically in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean between Europe and Canada.
I didn't know that. So, that's cool.
Yeah. It's close to New York, guys. Come visit. And Iceland is really into renewable energy. The grid itself is fully run on renewable energy. Around roughly 70%, a little bit more, is hydropower produced, and the rest, the 30% that's left, is geothermally produced.
Which is incredible.
We have a lot of heating required here because it's pretty cold year round. Like it is maybe 10 degrees centigrade today, and it's July. Oh my goodness, it's July. So we have a lot of heating, and the hot water is also from geothermal energy. So you can take long, hot showers and not feel too bad.
That's awesome. Okay, so what are you working on?
Oh, my project is so cool. I'm so excited. It's like unfolding, and I'm just going to new meetings, and I'm living.
I'm so excited for you.
I'm working. I'm so excited. So I'm doing wind energy in the northeastern part of Iceland, and I'm basically just kind of doing a technical feasibility study that compares different type of wind farm, formations. And I'm going to specifically compare a large wind farm versus small wind farms versus even smaller, just singular wind turbines dispersed throughout that area.
Okay. And so what's the, purpose of the project? Or what's the end goal for the project?
The reason that the project is relevant is because the area where I will be working on is called the West Fjords, and they have some really rough weather. They have high winds, and it gets coldest there, and they have a lot of snow. So they are really susceptible to grid disturbances and even blackouts. So in order to kind of prevent that or even kind of eliminate it altogether, we're thinking about distributed energy generation and bringing the energy to the West Fjords instead of having it to transport all the way from the other side of the island through like many connected lines where there's so many like areas where things could go wrong.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh. I hope this project works out.
Girl, me too.
So how did you even end up in Iceland? Like, why Iceland?
So, I mean, I always had this idea of like renewable energy, and that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I've kind of just developed this mindset where I think that climate change is such a global issue that it doesn't really matter where you are as long as you're implementing change.
Yeah.
So I figured I would like to go to the place where I can implement the most amount of change now.
Yeah.
So after doing some research, I thought Iceland would be a really rad place to check out because they already have this like really renewably minded culture.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see what that meant for like the people, how they interacted with that, how efficient it was, if people had problems with it, and just kind of learn about what it's like here. Because even
so
places that are more or like are working for renewable energy, like Germany and like France, are still run on a lot of like petrol or nuclear.
Yeah.
So I had curiosity on this 100% renewable kind of system they got going.
Oh, that's cool. Fun question for you. What's the most surprising thing you've learned being in Iceland?
They're so bad at recycling.
Really?
Yeah. Like they have all the bins and stuff, but like it's such a small island that like most of the plastics and stuff like that gets shipped over to Sweden.
That is so funny. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was an even much better answer than I expected. Okay, I love it. Okay, so we're going to take a short break now. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. So during this break, we're going to take the time to pay an homage to the woman who paved the way for us to be here today. So this is our Steministas in History segment. So today, our Steminista in History for the week is Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr was born Hedwig Eva Maria Kiesler on November 9, 1914 in Vienna, Austria. She was an actress, and then when she was in Hollywood, she officially changed her name to Hedy Lamarr. She was also extremely intelligent. Although she had no formal training and she was primarily self-taught, she worked in her spare time on various hobbies and inventions, which included an improved traffic stoplight and a tablet that would dissolve in water to create a carbonated drink. The beverage was unsuccessful. Lamarr herself said it tasted like Alka-Seltzer. But aviation tycoon Howard Hughes and Hedy dated, and he actively supported her tinkering hobbies. Yay for support. He put his team of science engineers at her disposal, saying that they would do or make anything she asked for, which is amazing. During World War II, Lamarr learned that radio-controlled torpedoes, an emerging technology in naval war, could easily be jammed and set off course. She thought of creating a frequency-hopping signal that could not be tracked or jammed. So she contacted her friend, composer and pianist, George Antheil, to help her develop a device for doing that, and he succeeded by synchronizing a miniaturized player piano mechanism with radio signals. So they drafted designs for the frequency hopping system. Their invention was granted a patent on August 11, 1942, filed using her married name Hedy Kiesler Markey, Kiesler, I believe, excuse me. However, it was technologically difficult to implement, and at that time, the US Navy was not receptive to considering inventions coming from outside the military. In 1962, at the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis, an updated version of their design at last appeared on Navy ships. So in 1997, Lamarr and Antheil received the Electronic Frontier Education Pioneer Award and the Bowlby NAS Spirit of Achievement Bronze Award, given to individuals whose creative lifetime achievement in the arts, sciences, business, or invention fields have significantly contributed to society. Lamarr was featured on the Science Channel and the Discovery Channel. In 2014, Lamarr and Antheil were posthumously inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. So yay for Hedy! Additionally, so I have an exciting surprise for you guys. Every last Friday of the month, we're going to have a bonus episode. During this bonus episode, we're going to have Steministas talk to us about varying topics that are useful for Steministas and just women in general. So, for example, our first month's episode is going to be about sexual harassment in the workplace, and it's going to be released on the 28th of September. So watch out for that episode. And I am looking forward to hearing your feedback from the episode and also just hearing your feedback from any of our episodes in general. Thank you for listening. Welcome back. So now I want to talk a little bit more about, we touched on it a little bit in the first part, but I want to talk a little bit more about the challenges that you have faced along the way, being this multicultural, diverse person coming from South Florida and then going to Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech being predominantly male, of course, it's an engineering school, and then going to Iceland, which is a super feminist country. So talk about that. Mm-hmm.
Of course. Okay. So I guess it didn't really hit me that being a woman in engineering would be, or at least I didn't want to see that being a woman would be a disadvantage. Because, I don't know, I grew up in a very loving, supporting household that was always so proud and so motivating and so supporting, which I think
wonderful.
Is really great.
Honestly, same.
Yeah,
I really appreciate my parents.
Absolutely. It really helped. I would not be here without them.
Right.
But I think the first time that it hit me that I wasn't the norm was at Tech.
Yeah.
Specifically in a robotics class that is required for mechanical engineering. 2110.
Yeah.
And so that's basically just a class where people are put into groups and they are assigned a challenge. And with that challenge, there are certain constraints, and you basically put that all together, make a robot, and at the end you compete, and it's super cool.
It is.
The competition's held in this really cool building.
Yeah. I mean, I think there might actually be YouTube videos online if you guys want to look it up. For sure. But it's called ME 2110. I can't remember what the full name is, but yeah, I'm sure that would be fine. Georgia Tech. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So I had this group, and everyone was really smart. But in the whole class, it was just me and this other girl. And we got put into this group. And, I have a background in robotics. In high school, I did robotics. My team was really successful. We went to many competitions. We even made it to, the World Championships.
Which is
incredible.
It
was really great.
Yeah.
And I was really comfortable with, this format and, all of this. But, I noticed that the expectations around me weren't the same as the expectations around the male team members.
Yeah, I definitely experienced that during my 2110 as well.
The interactions weren't the same.
Yeah.
I was kind of talked down to, and people just kind of really underestimated me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm a very proud person, so I did not take to it well.
Can definitely relate.
It was just really frustrating to say something, have an idea, and have it not be executed until 2 days later when people thought, when a male in the team thought it was their idea. So I think that was one of my first challenges with being a woman in STEM.
Yeah.
That didn't stop.
Of course.
When we were in a team together, when we decided to put together our product, and when we were looking for funding to move from patent to product.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were going out and looking for all these presentations?
Yeah.
And all the questions that were technical would go straight to our male members.
Right.
Despite them not having any idea what that would be about.
Yes, no, I feel I remember this particular competition towards the beginning when it was mostly us doing the work before I think this might have even been before we got this wonderful person on our team named Zev, who like really helped us a lot. But like before we got him, like when we're still like in the beginning, doing like the theoretical calculations, and it was like us like doing the bulk of the work, and then like doing the inventor prize, and then like one of the judges like comes up and like just completely bypasses us and goes to talk to this one guy on our team who was wonderful, but like did not work on like, right. Like, and it's like, oh, sir, I have been talking to you for the past 5 minutes, telling you about like all the calculations that we did. I can answer any questions that you have.
I totally do. Mm-hmm. And it was really frustrating because like, even after they realized that we were the ones doing the work, I feel like in that moment, their minds kind of like switched off.
Right.
And they valued our project less.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I would leave those presentations, because we went to many of them, wondering like if we were like straight white males presenting these topics, like would have that made a difference? Would we have gotten that funding? Would we have gone on to the next round?
Yeah, that was definitely something that like I considered as well, like after those competitions, which is like not great for your mental health too, and like trying to like build like like as a STEM professional, like that's very, very frustrating.
Well, I feel like the best obviously there's no solution, but I feel like so far, the best way that I've been able to handle with it is just let myself be sad, upset, frustrated, whatever, for like a day, and then move on. Keep on, like,
you're just gonna pick yourself back up, right? And just like,
because at the end of the day, like, these people aren't being hurt by you being upset.
Yeah.
Like, you're just hurting yourself. And like, I'm not like, there's things to be accomplished, things to be achieved, and like so many problems to be solved.
Right. Like, yeah. But so now like going from Georgia Tech, you know, like which was like Georgia Tech was actually pretty awesome and like trying to elevate women, but of course it was still very heavily male dominated. There's nothing they can do about it. Well, you know, there are things, but let's just move on. But going from here to Iceland, which again, like super feminist, like super awesome. Like how was that? Like how are things in Iceland? Like differences and similarities?
So, I mean, there's definitely still instances. I still have like a group project kind of scenario where a guy on the group kind of assumed, like we all didn't know each other, and he made an assumption that I didn't know how to use a program called MATLAB, which, just for reference, is a very common engineering software that was required to be learned from our first year in engineering. And like, it was really frustrating because like, he didn't make that assumption about any of the guys in the group. And then later on, when I ended up taking the bulk of that, he ended up kind of thinking it was, I don't know, his doing.
Which is
kind
just
of like a weird transfer of power kind of thing.
I hate when people do that.
Wanted to take credit.
Yeah.
But I'm sure everyone has experience with bad groups.
Right. But so, like, how did you deal with that situation?
Well, I mean, I kind of destroyed him in the group evaluation.
Of course.
I mean, I don't think I was happy with the outcome, but fundamentally because I felt like there was a lack of understanding in what was expected of us. Yeah. And, like, it's not like we're at a level high enough where we're going to be employed and be making decisions that are going to affect other people. Yeah. So if you're going to be doing engineering, you should be doing it right. Right. And don't make, like, some areas, there's just no room for error.
Yeah. Sorry, we're going to talk about the positives. So talk to us about the flip side.
Let's go to the positives. But in Iceland, there is so many efforts to bring equality to women. We have a new female president who is pushing, like, the hardest that has been pushed for, like, equal pay. I know that there's a lot of efforts in place to get more women hired as some of these older men retire. And it was actually funny, like, I was working where I'm going to be doing my thesis, and with this girl was kind of, like, having this conversation with one of the the staff that works at the energy company, and she was just kind of like, oh, I just said that. And then he hands her this card, and it turns out to be a yellow card for mansplaining.
I love that.
So like, it's great that like they're creating awareness here, like, hey, mansplaining's a thing. 2, don't do it. And like on the yellow card, it had the definition of what mansplaining is in Icelandic.
Oh my god, I love it. I love everything about it.
Particular coworker didn't know. Because there's no, like, I mean, there is issues with like wrongdoing. Yeah. But you can correct them, and we can learn and move forward and be a better people as a society and as a world. So that was just something I really liked. And yeah, I've definitely spoken to lots of women in industry who are coming forward, and that there's lots of efforts in place to get some more women employed. They actually had a Women's Day at my university. And it was great because it was for young women, like girls in middle school. And they had like a 2-day workshop with people talking to them. And they had like workshops on like coding and STEM and all these things. And it was just so rad.
That sounds wonderful. I think we actually have like some programs like that at Tech, like for summer programs as well. What?
Oh, I'm just praising Tech.
Oh, It is quite awesome in terms of like the administration and like how they work with women. I feel like to a certain extent.
I feel like that's just so necessary because small societal things really push women against STEM. And like they're not big noticeable things, but they're little things. Like one of my first internships, I get there. And I'm like, oh, I'm a mechanical engineering student. When I was a student back then, I'm a mechanical engineer. And the first reaction was, oh, isn't that usually like for men? Yeah. And like, I didn't even know how to respond. Like, yeah, but what difference does that make?
Yeah. No, I've definitely gotten that reaction before. I've been asked if I get men to like build stuff for me. Oh, or like, and I'm like
it's so absurd me knowing how genius you are.
Like it is that's been very weird for me because I'm like, do you just like not think I'm capable of like
I don't understand how people think you can fake being an engineer.
Right.
Like if anything, the females are probably more qualified because they're under a microscope.
Right.
People are judging you every step of the way, like questioning you.
Yeah.
And, like, it's kind of a disadvantage, but at the end of the day, it probably just makes you a more quality engineer.
That's true. If only our pay would reflect that. But again, another issue for another time. But do you have any advice that you would love to give to women who are looking to, I don't know, do something similar, who are going to study engineering, maybe potentially renewable energy, or moving to a new country, whatever? Like, you have like so much, I feel like, that you could give advice about.
I guess in terms of moving to a new country, I think the effort of integrating is really important. I don't think necessarily like you don't have to be perfect at anything. Yeah. But I think it's really important to show the locals that you're making an effort. Yeah. Because they'll be so much more willing to accept you.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Much more happy, harmonious life.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're already like away from your family, away from your friends from home. So it's, I don't know, like it's nice to have, it's easier to build a new home when you have that. And then as for like addressing obstacles as a woman in STEM, I feel like at the end of the day, you have to like just be happy for yourself and like be proud of yourself of all the accomplishments, because as nice as recognition is, you're allowed to recognize yourself.
Yeah, I think that's so important.
Be proud, right?
Honestly, it is so important.
Oh, and last thing, like Jen, Like, even if it's counterintuitive, please take breaks, take naps, refresh.
It is definitely not counterintuitive. I think that is so important because I know, at least for me personally, like I have a tendency to like just keep going. Like if I, like I'm like, I have to do this and this and this. I have so much I have to accomplish. And it's like, no, like you definitely need, like self-care is very important, especially like for your mental health, for your productivity,
Yes, for your productivity. You slow down if you're not at your peak. Take a nap. Do what you gotta do.
Yeah, sleeping is one of my favorite things. I honestly try to get like 8 hours a night. Like if I could,
Amazing.
Yeah, honestly, like I am a grandma. My friends know. Like I'm in bed by like 9:30. But yeah, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. This was awesome. I love this conversation and all of the advice that you've given us, sharing your wisdom with other Steministas out there. To you all listening, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. You can also check us out on our website, www.thesteministas.com. That's www.thesteministas.com. Feel free to give us feedback or share your story with us. We're always looking for more Steministas to showcase. Have a great week. Till next time.